Century, a guy named Anthony Flew was the world's leading advocate for atheism. He predates all the hardline fundamentalist atheists y'all worship here on YouTube every day. Dawkins, Hitchens, Harris. No one more relentlessly espoused the atheistic hardline than Flew. Now, Flew is a fitting name for this cat because in his early 80s, he flew the atheistic cuckoo's nest and declared that he believed in God. He said that a lifelong commitment of following the evidence where it leads, and the new discoveries in science proved without a shadow of a doubt that materialism and atheism were bankrupt dead ends. Quite simply, materialism and Darwinism couldn't account for the world as it is, only the world as he wanted it to be. Examining the fine-tuning of the universe and the mind-blowing complexity of the cell, wouldn't you know it, but Flew determined that a design requires a designer. Now, Flew gives this great little anecdote, this great little story that hits atheism right between the eyes with logic. It goes like this. He asks you to imagine that a small child was raised on a remote island, and one day, he's walking the beach and he finds a satellite phone. Now, voices come out of this phone and he recognizes these voices as human voices, and he's thrilled by the discovery that he can maybe talk to humans beyond this island. He makes the logical presumption that because he's holding a satellite phone, there must be someone who created the satellite phone beyond this island. But the elders of this island, Big Chief Dawkins, Witch Dr. Hitchens, they say no, no, no. They scorn the child, they do their very best to smash up the satellite phone, and they say, we don't have satellite phones here. The only learning that we permit is that which we can find on our island. Only the material evidence on this island do I permit you to look at and explore, not the satellite phone. Now go back to making sandcastles and keep your mouth shut! Flew asks you to really ask yourself, who are the intellectual dummies? Who are the ones boxing themselves in? Who are the scientifically limited in this story? Another thing about my boy Flew is when he decides to leave the faith of atheism, the scientific community, the New York Times, the secularists, they come at him like an intellectual mafia hit job. You know this well, guys. It's the same old ad hominem attack after ad hominem attack. You know, Flew's senile, Flew's crazy. Surely he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's an old man. He must have lost his mind. Despite the fact that the writings that preceded this bloodbath of his character were coherent, sophisticated, employed unbelievable philosophical vocabulary, all of this empirical data was easily dismissed for their agenda. Instead of throwing scientific rocks at my boy Flew, maybe they should have followed him where the evidence actually leads. Too close-minded to even consider Flew's argument, despite the fact that they worship and hung on his every word when he wore the label atheist on his chest. They found it much more convenient to belittle, name-call, and trash a great man they once revered. One of my favorite authors, C.S. Lewis, has this great advice. When you're on a journey and all of a sudden you realize that you're lost, the quickest way to right and correct your course is to return to the point when you know you went wrong. But the atheist will continue to make ridiculous, logically impossible claims. They'll continue to make wrong-rooted left-hand turns. They'll continue to make wrong-rooted right-hand turns. They'll continue to say absolutely insane things, all so they don't have to admit they're a very obvious house of cards. What they should be doing is returning to that fork in the road when they left God behind, not for scientific reasons, but for selfish reasons, sin-centered reasons. Not only would it enhance the lens through which we see science, but their very lives and souls.